Hello, this is Arctic Retro and welcome to this special edition made for Patreons. This video will only be available on patreon.com as a benefit for my Patreons. What I got here is a magazine, a Norwegian computer magazine from 1984, and I was thinking I'm gonna browse through this magazine and show you how a Norwegian computer magazine back in the 80s looked like. Hopefully this will come out okay. It's a little bit difficult with the lighting and glare on the paper, but I think it's okay now. Alright, let's take a look at the front page. It is called Mikrodata and with Hobby Data, which is a sub-magazine inside, I think. This cost 20 Norwegian kroners, June-July edition. You can divide by 10 for comparing with the dollars or euros. Up in the corner here it says a lot of free programs worth over 2000 Norwegian krone, that's around $200. And on the main page here it says Norwegian databases can be cracked easily. And this part lists some reviews that are in this edition, and this is about that year's computer couple in the television. Let's go to the first page, and here there's an ad for the Spectra Video SV318 personal computer, which is MSX compatible and can run CPM obviously. And the price for a SV318 was 2,300 NOK, and SV328, which is in fact the machine I got in my collection, it cost 4,500 NOK, $450, and that was a lot back in the 80s. And here is the contents and some advertisement. Commodore 64 computing. This is computer books. Dragon 32 books. ZX Spectrum book of games. On these pages we can read about what's new since the last time, and yeah, some interesting thing here. The Sinclair QL is delayed. And this talks about a speech card for the IBM PC. This one says that Commodore Norway have developed a Norwegian logo for the Commodore 64 for use in the schools. This one is a nice ad for a Sanyo PC, IBM compatible, 16 bits. 128 kilobyte of RAM, expandable to 256 kilobyte, and the price, wow, it's almost 10,000 Norwegian krone. Here's an ad for some games and joysticks. The Competition Pro, which is a very well-known joystick from back in the 80s for the gamers of that time, and the price is 256 NOK, which is around half the price which they are sold for nowadays as retro used. This one is interesting. It's a warning for everyone that does piracy. And this is from an importer of software, obviously, and this is like a warning that copying programs and games is illegal and can be punished with large fines. This one is an interesting article. It's about NRK, the Norwegian state broadcaster, Norsk Rikskringkasting. And they are gonna learn computers. And it's about a new series on the TV, and back in the day we only had one TV channel in Norway. It was NRK, and NRK is still perhaps the largest TV station in Norway, but then we have no other options. So it says here that it's a cooperation between different parties, and it's inspired by the BBC, and it will be 10 programs for around 20 to 25 minutes, and also on the radio. And here is the first test of several in this edition, and this one is about testing software, and this test is about Superbase 64. Superbase 64 is or was a database program for the Commodore 64. It goes through all the features. You can search, you can output and calculate and make reports, and you can also execute programs. So this is not a program that I have ever tested or come across before. Next test is about the Colossus Chess 2.0. So I guess this is for the Commodore 64. It doesn't say, but it says that it is written in 6502 machine language. And yeah, it's a chess program, and the conclusion here is that it's a good one, and it's very user-friendly. Then there's some hardware tests, and this one is for the Sanyo MBC. And this one is an IBM compatible PC, and it has an Intel 8088 CPU running at 3.6 MHz, 8 colors, and no sound besides the buzzer, and it runs MS-DOS. No plans about CPM. Price is a whopping 12,800 Norwegian kroners. In today's money, this must be at least 40,000 NOK or $4,000. And the conclusion is that it's not too big, and it is in no way revolutionary, and boring workhorse kind of machine. Then we have a test for a Practicalc 64, a calculating program for Commodore 64. And the conclusion is that there are, without a doubt, more powerful programs like this for the Commodore 64 and the VIC-20. And this one is probably the cheapest one. And if you take the price in consideration, this would be a good alternative. On this page we have a test for something called Adam from ColecoVision, and ColecoVision was known as games console back in the day. This is a computer. It has 80K RAM, 40K ROM. I have never heard about this one. It has 5 processors, one Z80 and 4 6801. And then I test a little bit software. There's a diagram here about the architecture of the machine. This one is a course. This is how you can program colors for the VIC-20. This is interesting. Maybe I should read this. So this is another part in a series, and here's some poke commands and how to create multicolor characters, and the program listing. Then we come to the basic school, part 7. So this is a course in basic, and that's really interesting. So this is about the R&D, the random generator command in basic. Of course, back in the day when I had my first computers, I learned basic by reading books and magazines and playing with it. And my first machine was actually a Z80 based machine called Laser 200. After that I moved on to the Commodore 64, and I also learned machine coding on that one. Then we have this complaint page, and wow, the design, it's almost unreadable, but anyway, this one is an open letter to Commodore Norway. And this is sent in by some guy that complains that he has been waiting for the Pascal for Commodore 64, and he has contacted Commodore several times and blah blah blah, and the question is, how long does he have to wait for the Pascal that he has ordered, and what routines do Commodore Norway have? With regards from Knut J. Bakke Sandnes. And over here we have some program pages, that is programs sent in by the readers and listed here so that you could type them in. And this program here for the Auric is sent in by Lars Helge Stølen from Vinjeøra, and he got a price of 500 NOK. The program continues over here, and yeah, it's a word processing program for the Auric 148K, written in BASIC. Nice. And here's the second prize, 300 Norwegian kroner for the Eldorado. It's not a common shoot 'em up game, but here you must use your brains, not just your fingers. It's a stockbroker game, I think. And it's for the Commodore 64, and there's a complete listing here. And the third prize is 150 NOK for the Dragon. It's a help program for setting up football gambling coupons. Back in the day, you had to get these coupons if you want to gamble on football matches in Norway, and then you crossed off your gamble on each match. And yeah, this one is obviously something that can print this out from the Dragon. And here's also a program priced with 200 NOK, and it's a spider game for the Sharp. I actually got the Sharp, so I might try to type in this one later. Hydro Radar for the VIC-20. It's a game for the VIC-20 where you're gonna blow up the dam, and you can use, and you have a plane that you control with the L, comma, and equal sign to shoot, and yeah, you can drop bombs. It got a reward of 150 NOK. This one is for the Commodore 64. It's a note course. It's a learning program to learn musical notes position on the note sheet. ZX Spectrum laser cycle. Here's an advertisement for the Enterprise 64 computer. It's guaranteed to not get old. Yeah, right. And this one is a course in Pascal School, and this is about recursive calls. And yeah, everyone that's a programmer like me, a software developer, knows what the recursive calls is actually. And here's also a course, and this is part 1, course in machine code programming. And this is gonna be about the 6502 CPU, and it's gonna focus on BBC, Commodore 64, VIC-20, PET, Auric, Apple 1 to 3, and the Atari 400, 800 XL series. because those all run on a 6502 or 6510 CPU. So this is the first part. This is really interesting. They start about explaining what the binary is and hexadecimal, and yeah, then it goes on with the hardware and the CPU, and seems to go into the arithmetic logic unit, and here's a diagram that tries to explain what's inside the computer. It talks about the registers and what different language constructs are to use the registers. Alright, then we have the club pages, and these are like contact ads for people wanting to contact other hobbyists, and yeah, and as we all know, back in the day, most of these ads were about copying games with each other. Last page, it's advertisements for different computers and programs, games, where you can call and get more information, and yeah. The Elephant Computer Club, if you want to be a member, for 50 Norwegian kroner you get a membership, t-shirt, sticker, and one number of this computer magazine. I wonder if I fill in this and send it in, if I'll get the membership. Alright, that was it. Hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit special edition and about the Norwegian computer magazine, but that's great fun. I have more of these. If this is interesting, I might do more of these videos. So thanks and bye bye.